I don't often review Gigabyte monitors, and after spending time with the MO34WQC2, I was actually annoyed that that's the case, because this 34-inch ultra-wide QD-OLED gaming monitor is pretty awesome. It packs a 240Hz refresh rate, HDR 400, adaptive sync, and a subtle curvature of 1800. All of this fits into a gorgeous QD OLED panel with a resolution of 3440 by 1440. And yes, before you even ask, it has speakers too. Of course, you will pay a lot of money for all of that magic. The Gigabyte MO34WQC2, who comes up with these names, will set you back $1,000. In South Africa, there's no price just yet. While this is quite steep, other competitor brands don't come in much cheaper. If you match this monitor with other models on the market, you'll likely pay more, or if not the same. A big selling point of this monitor is of course the Quantum Dot OLED panel, and Gigabyte has taken full advantage of this organic LED by implementing a nifty 16:9 resolution mode. When enabled, the OLED turns off the LEDs around the screen space that doesn't fit into the larger aspect ratio. So it is like having a smaller monitor inside your larger monitor. This is handy for consoles and games that don't fully support the resolution. The OLED panel also means that instead of the backlight shining in your face around the border of the smaller display, it is turned off and essentially just acts as a really thick black frame. But the OLED doesn't only help with that mode, it also comes with some impressive specs. This monitor packs DCI-P3 color gamut of 99%, 10-bit color depth, and a contrast ratio of 50 million to 1. It also comes with the usual perks like excellent viewing angles, true blacks, and some ridiculous color. The only thing you'll need to keep in mind is that this monitor does have a glossy screen. Gigabyte has opted for a gloss finish instead of the matte. I kind of like it. I'm actually not fussy between matte and gloss. The gloss finish handles its reflections quite well. It does have some noticeable issues with ambient light reflection though. This means that in bright rooms, the panel might struggle a bit to fight off the reflection caused by light in the area around you and behind you. From a design perspective, the Gigabyte MO34WQC2 is an okay looking monitor. It packs an incredibly thin display that curves across the front of the monitor and even from the side. You can see how thin this panel is. The display is secured with a standing arm and attached to a flat set of feet. The arm can move the display up by 130mm, it can be swiveled up by 5 degrees, down by 20 degrees, and to the left and right by 30 degrees. At the lowest point, the monitor is 17cm off the desk, and at the highest point it is 23cm. It can also be VESA mounted by removing the arm and using the supported mounts. Moving the display is easy and it felt quite fluid. Rotating the panel left and right was seamless, and the high display position really looks cool. The various angles and position make this monitor quite capable of all environments. In terms of connectivity, the monitor comes with 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, one DisplayPort 1.4, a USB Type-C port with power delivery of up to 18 watts, 2 USB Type-A 3.1 downstream ports, and one USB Type-A 3.1 upstream port. There's also an earphone and microphone jack. The OSD is then accessed using the little nub situated in the middle of the back of the panel. You can quickly access 4 shortcuts and press it in for a full menu. There isn't much to talk about in terms of the design. There's no RGB on this monitor and the display is just plastic around the entire unit. It doesn't look like it's asking price, but that's okay. The magic is really in the front OLED panel anyway. I think if Gigabyte had to brand this under its Aorus label, this would be a prettier unit, while also bumping up its asking price. You'll also find the OLED Care features on the OSD. Gigabyte says this monitor uses AI for OLED Care, but I don't see how this is any different from the tried and tested other OLED cleaning features we have seen for years now. I feel like Gigabyte are likely just slapping AI onto this device for marketing purposes. Gigabyte does offer a 3-year burn-in warranty on the monitor if your display does suffer from it over time. The performance on this monitor was excellent. The response time of 0.3 milliseconds at 240Hz makes this a real joy to use. This also stems into the input lag of 0.5 milliseconds in both HDR and SDR. It all feels fantastic to use and looks great in any scenario. The combination of the QD-OLED color, brightness, and the quick response time creates an experience that you often don't get. The monitor also handles its motion very well as a result. This was a concern given how OLED monitors do tend to suffer from a bit of blur when it comes to fast moving objects. keep in mind that the higher refresh rate on this display, the better clarity you'll experience. At 60Hz for example, clarity on fast objects is slightly reduced, but not as bad as you would get on an LCD monitor. Sub-pixel layout hasn't changed here unfortunately. The panel in this display is still the first generation 34-inch curved OLED panel. However, it is a bit clearer than other OLEDs I have tested. This is thanks to a soft focus system that Gigabyte has implemented on the display that softens the harsh edges around text that is often caused by OLED panels. Granted, you still do see some green fringe on the text, but it shouldn't ruin your experience. The text is clear, which is the most important part. The color space was also good for an OLED monitor. It has 99% DCI-P3, 90% Adobe RGB, and around 80% Rec 2020 color space. This is ample for gaming and results in a near perfect HDR experience. In terms of the brightness, the Gigabyte MO34WQC2 peaks at 250 nits in a 100% window. It is pretty much as good as it gets when it comes to OLED gaming monitors on the market. Some monitors might offer slightly higher nits, but I have yet to see any monitor pass 270 nits in this regard. The monitor doesn't have automatic brightness limitations at all when using SDR. It is capped at 250 nits, which means the display won't dim if you open a full white image and increase when you close it. ABL is quite annoying, so it is nice to see that this monitor is avoiding it. The sound on this monitor was good enough for a gaming monitor. I know most monitors don't pack speakers, so this was a welcome addition here. Personally, I often need speakers just for daily work and casual gaming when I don't feel like wearing a headset or when I'm not using my PC plugged into my TV. So this monitor would be perfect for me. I think most gamers would agree that speakers in monitors should really become the standard.
Damn it. Lost contact with brother.
The monitor worked across all platform tests. PS5 utilized the best of its abilities and games look great. Of course, PC is where this monitor truly shines thanks to its increased color depth and 240Hz panel. It is a dream display for PC gamers without a doubt. With that being said, the Gigabyte MO34WQC2 is a great monitor, but apart from its 240Hz refresh rate, it doesn't really do much to stand out from the competition on the market. So you'll need to ask yourself whether or not the price is worth this 240Hz refresh rate, and if you're fully going to take advantage of this higher refresh rate. If 240Hz isn't your thing, there are better OLEDs out there that are more affordable. It is great to see Gigabyte pushing one of the first 240Hz OLED panels to the market, but there's a specific demographic for that feature. If that is you, then cool, that is a great buy. If you have your eyes on a 144Hz or 175Hz OLED monitor and it saves you a few $100s, you're essentially getting the same tech there. The brightness doesn't change and the color space are identical most of the time. I personally love my time with this monitor. Would I use 240Hz? Probably not, but I'll never complain when a gorgeous OLED monitor finds its way onto my desk for a few weeks. A huge thanks to Gigabyte for sending this monitor my way to test out. Are you picking it up or have any questions? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're here, be sure to check out the other videos on the channel where I review similar tech. Also visit glitch.online for more gaming tech news and reviews, and until next time, farewell.